so dirty.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Late Game episode 46. My name is Lycan. With me, as always, we have Destiny and In Control. Gentlemen, I'll start with Steven. How are you doing? What have you been up to?
I'm doing great, just Hearthstoning and Minecrafting,
Yeah?
Yeah.
Keeping it real?
Yeah, real as fuck, mate.
What are you doing in Minecraft these days?
I just build things.
Yeah?
I like Legos. And, it's kind of my way to relive my childhood without being a complete child, although it seems like playing Minecraft might make you a man-child, but I don't know, it's fun times.
What do you like to build? Buildings?
It just kind of depends on my mood. Sometimes you just make little bases. Sometimes you make little houses. It all just whatever your heart desires. Lycan.
Cool.
Is what you build.
Maybe I have to build up some credibility.
Is there raging in Minecraft? Can you rage in that game, or?
Yeah, of course. You run and blow somebody's shit up, they can rage pretty hard. Yeah.
Jeff, you've never played Minecraft?
No, but I played Legos and Play-Doh, so I feel like it's virtually the same thing.
Yeah, I guess so. What have you been up to, Jeff?
Much respect to Minecraft.
I'm upset the Minecraft community.
I don't want to upset anybody anymore, man. People get way too mad on the internet. What I've been doing lately, went and visited family this past weekend, saw the Seahawks throw away another big lead, so basically killed myself. Otherwise, just excited for the Star Wars movie, and a lot of hype around that right now, which it's always a little bit annoying because it doesn't come out for like a couple months, so I hate getting excited for something way before it comes out.
There's been like a lot of hype this week with the trailer.
Well, they released another trailer,
Yeah, it's going to be amazing, but it's like fucking 2 months away, so I wish... So, I got excited about it, now I have to try to forget about it so that I can wait.
Yep.
But that's about it. Going to go to the Seahawk 49er game tomorrow and hopefully see them actually win a game. That might be a change of, pace there. And that's about it. That's it, my world.
So you went up home to Seattle to see them play, and now you're going to see them in California?
Yeah, it was also my dad and grandfather's birthday. My grandfather turned 85, so... he's only going to live to be 160 or something like that. So kind of counting down the birthdays here. Yeah, my family's up there, and I actually don't get to see him very often. I'm way too fucking busy to see family, which is like the saddest thing in the whole world to say. But so it's always nice to see him.
Good. Well, we got a hell of a show. It's been.
Well, actually,
go ahead.
A little interesting subject. Not everyone knows this. So in Washington, it's legal to smoke the cron, the weed, if you will. You guys are familiar with this drug?
Yeah.
Like weeds outside, or?
No, it's a hallucinogenic on a very... It's not even hallucinogenic, actually. What would you call it?
Oh, wait, we're not talking about...
I think it's a methamphetamine. It's a methamphetamine.
Sure.
Similar to crack cocaine.
Okay.
But my brother actually is very... To the layman, we call him a glassware expert.
Oh, okay.
To those in the know, he is a high-end dab piece art dealer, essentially. But this is just a completely different world. He works with people that the people that make Mothership, which I guess is like the best bongs on planet Earth. I don't know. But he just recently sold 3 pieces, each of them, for $40,000. They're about this big, this wide. They have the best pieces, mechanic, etc. But there's no artwork on them. They're see-through. $40,000 bongs. He sold 3 of them.
Can you say what the special thing about them is? That
I actually, and I'm not saying this because I'm some kind of red-blooded, super law-abiding citizen. I've smoked a little bit of the J in my day, but I am not in any way we have friends that are 3 times a day weed smokers. If there was a church to go to for it, they would be able to answer it better. My brother's as you can tell, a fucking amazing salesman, so he could tell you all about it. But as far as I can tell, it's just the way it filters the smoke and burns the bud, and there's the dab mechanic, I guess, which not every bong necessarily has. I guess that
what does the dab mechanic do?
The thing where you pull it in and out to toke it and get it going or whatever. I sound like a jackass. There's people in chat that are like, "Oh my god, you're an idiot!" Like, yeah, I know. I don't know how to describe how a bong works, but the number just blows my mind. Like, $40,000. And if someone told me about a bong, I would think it's made by like it would be like Michael Jackson's mummified body that this weed is passing through, and it's like a 17-foot bong or something. No, it's just this little fucking thing, perfectly made.
Huh.
I think there's a 13 and under joke to be made there, but well, so I've seen bongs. I've seen them priced, pretty insane, like these little glass intricate pipes and all that, and some are like $150, $200, but 40,000. I'm having trouble wrapping my mind around that one.
It's also name brand, so I asked him to explain that to me, and it's like Mothership is the premier bong makers on planet Earth, I guess. But they also only made 10 of these bongs, so it's a little bit name brand. Like, I guess Miley Cyrus is one of the people that bought, not necessarily one of these three, she bought something else that my brother was involved in. And, it's just like, if you own a Mothership bong, wow, you have this item piece. And for a lot of people, weed is their, like, it's their cup of coffee. It's like, it's something very important to them,
Yeah.
So to have the bong from the company that's limited and only a few people on planet Earth have it, and then like you invite your friends over to smoke from it, and they're like, "Oh God, I smoked from a $40,000 bong," type of thing. So it's pretty incredible. It's awesome, and I'm not hating on the world at all. I'm just saying that number stopped me in my tracks because I just you could park a very nice car next to that bong, and be like, you can choose one or the other, and there's people out there that be like, well, yeah, I mean. The effect that thing has when I pull it in and out like a tuba, yeah, man, it's amazing.
Like a mid-range Mercedes-Benz costs around the same as that bong. Jesus.
My car, I have at the time it was brand new 2015 Jeep Cherokee. It's less than $40,000. No,
Jesus. All right, well. Still mind blown about that shit. All right. Today we got a lot to talk about, guys. There was a ton of stuff happening within the StarCraft community. Just a lot of things changing around. We're gonna kick it off with talks about the integrity of the game. We'll discuss what has happened recently with the match fixing. Jeff will walk us through that. Then we're gonna talk about Axiom departing, which is very sad. We'll then go over the beta updates for Legacy of the Void. We'll finish it off with discussing the reality and the future of esports. A lot of different sports started off as just here and there kind of teams playing every now and then. They try to figure out a game to get together, and then they ended up being NFL, NBA, MLB, things like that. And that may be what esports is destined for, and it may be happening sooner than we think. So we'll discuss that. We'll take your questions, and then we'll call it a day. So without further ado, Jeff, go ahead and talk to us just about the recent unfortunate announcements that we had coming out of Korea.
Yeah. Rigging of competitive matches is not something unique to StarCraft, but it's something that has a history there. For some of you, you may know of a guy called Savior, who is one of, if not, I guess you could just say one of the absolute best StarCraft players ever to grace planet Earth, but he was caught fixing matches where bookies would say, hey, if you lose game 2, I'll give you $5,000, I'll give you $10,000. If you lose the whole best of 3 on such and such match, I'll pay you this much. And Savior was so fucking good that he had, at least the way he described it, he had kind of almost gotten bored and felt like he could win at will, so he just threw matches to make even more money. This was, of course, found, and he was banned for life. It was this huge controversy. Fast forward 5 or 6 years later, 6 years maybe, 7, to now, and it appears that it's still going on. Yoda, a player, and Gerard, a coach, and there's speculation that others are involved, but no other names have really been. Byung-boong, or whatever his name is, I guess he was a part of it as well. But it was originally speculated there's going to be 10 names. But anyways, these guys were involved in the scandal, and a lot of stories came out from MC, from others, where they said, I went to these guys and I asked them point blank if they're involved, and they cried and assured us they're not. And then they were caught, and a lot of their testimony was, I am a pro gamer that's struggling. I'm not as good as I used to be. I needed money. So it was between $5,000 and $20,000 is the numbers that were put out there. And for a lot of people, that sounds ridiculous, but just you have to keep in mind, in Korea, betting is huge, but also this game is bigger there. Even though StarCraft is not as big as LoL or other games, it's still very big in Korea. So this is an industry where that can happen. And the arguments that kind of came out, and this will be interesting to throw it back at you, Lycan. All right.
Uh-oh.
little bit of drama came your way, I understood, and I read up on some of that because I
I
like
heard about
watching
that
you
over the weekend.
twist in the wind. Huck and Lycan kind of came out and said something that I think everyone, for the most part, actually pretty much agrees on. They said, StarCraft's not the only game to have this kind of drama. There's been betting and cheating in other games as well, and that's actually very true. So it's a gaming-wide kind of thing, but, Lycan would... I think you did a lot of, as Destiny would call it, backpedaling as well.
So, all right, let's go ahead. I was going to save that for the question section, but since we brought this up, let's talk about it.
Yeah, it's a part of it.
So first of all, I never backpedaled. I made a mistake with what I said and how I said it. Like, my sentiment, I still agree. Yeah, I still trust those who've told me what they told me. And I should not have said, because it's not what I meant. I shouldn't have said blatantly. To me, when I say blatantly, that was the wrong fucking word to say at all. And I think I also said the word prevalent. To me, prevalent is if there are 2 to 4 fucking people in the top teams at a LAN cheating, that's prevalent to me, because it shouldn't be happening at all. It shouldn't be able to happen, and no one should be doing it. There should be enough integrity amongst the players and the teams and all that to not do it. So I just want to say that I didn't completely backpedal. I just kind of was like, I shouldn't have said that, and I shouldn't have. That's the other thing, right? Because I wasn't coming out as like some investigative journalist saying I have information. I was just making a statement that based off, things I had heard, and also something that I didn't think was completely unknown, right? I thought that after the shit that happened at the end of 2014 with those players that got back banned and all that, and one of the big stories was that now people were starting to question their LAN results. So that, coupled with the things, from my sources, it was a dumb thing to say without being able to back it up, or without it being, more heavily discussed thing. Match fixing, fine. There's been, recent occurrences of that and all, and there's much less speculation around that statement. So yeah, I fucked up. I had to, I didn't have to apologize, but I wanted to, because I didn't come across the way I meant to. And that's the other thing. That's why I deleted the tweet. I was like, 140 characters is not a good way to say something like that, especially when I didn't mean just blatant, I didn't mean what the message my tweet conveyed. Yeah. So yeah, I fucked up. And then I made a response, and the thing is that I seem to get my post seemed to do better as far as getting a response from people than the first one. The first one was just like, a lot of people were angry with me. A lot of people were like, fuck this guy. Why would he's just trying to get attention, shit like that. And the second one, the majority of people were like, oh, okay, I get it, dude. It's all right. You fucked up once, whatever, kind of thing. And I was bound to fucking fuck up. It's been a year of me doing this show, right? It's been over a year. It's been 13 months of me doing a weekly thing. I was bound to do something fucking stupid. So it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have questions, or do you want to, like, something you wanted me to say, or?
Do you think he's backpedaling on backpedaling, Steven? Do you think that's?
I'm not actually sure if you can. So is he moving? Are we moving forward now, or is it like back
Just
exponentially?
goes full circle, I guess.
Or
It's like a bicycle, I suppose. Yeah, it's a full rotation. So eventually, it is considered going forward again.
I thought your statements were brave.
I think that's a Yoda thing. But I guess the reason this is enough trolling of Lycan, but the reason why this is super relevant to StarCraft is because there is a history of it, and because it's a big deal. Like in Korea, integrity, even honor, all these things, without sounding too racist, they're extremely important, actually. And MC kind of talked about it in his statement as well, where these, like a lot of these players, I think actually MC said something to the fashion of like, I would rather. I can't remember what he said. Something like that, yeah. Something really melodramatic. But the point that they're trying to illustrate is this is a big fucking deal. These guys are banned for life from StarCraft. That is what their profession was. They're marked. They were arrested, I believe. There's a prosecutor involved. Like, it's a big, big, big deal. But also what's kind of scary about it is that this throws a shade over all of StarCraft. Like, if these guys were the ones that were caught, who else has accepted money? Because it's really hard to catch somebody, by the way. Like, it's not necessarily
really
throw a whole best of 3, best of 5. It's like, I just need you to lose game number 3. And on game number 3, we could have a guy who, I don't know, he could go triple command center, and the other guy can go in-base proxy hatch. I don't know, yeah. Could be on the mini-map and everything, and you could be a professional player that doesn't see it. I don't know. Like
Oh.
weird shit like that, and all of a sudden we're starting to question people that maybe they did cheat, maybe they absolutely didn't. They just made a mistake, but all of a sudden they're starting to be called into question, and that's just so bad for a game, any game, especially a game like StarCraft, where it is a 1v1 game, and we don't need this kind of shit to clout the system. So it's going to be a hot buzz for now. I think it will dissipate and go away, and I hope those that are involved but haven't been caught are like, holy fuck, these guys are going to jail. We'll never do it again. You know, like I hope that is a big enough stick that it scares people.
Right. Now, do you think that match fixing is, this is one of the actual things that my tweet was involving. What I said was that I believe that a bigger issue than match fixing was cheating amongst the players. And I had some discussions with a few different community members about this yesterday. And my sentiment is this. I believe that in match fixing, there is, from a player perspective, there is less that is going to be bad for the players, right? Because if someone is deciding they're going to throw a match, hey, the other player gets to win. Whether or not he's complicit to it, he gets to win, right? If both players are complicit to it, everyone's getting something out of it. However, if someone cheats, like let's say a map hacker in a WCS qualifier, right? If someone cheats, it robs someone of a win because they played straight up. They played straightforward and didn't cheat. Versus, you know, again, the match fixing thing where everyone wins something. Cheating, someone's going to lose for doing the right thing.
That seems like a really
if
weird.
If you're trying to make it sound like one's worse than the other, I don't necessarily agree. Like throwing a match and fixing a result is 100% guaranteed outcome that is bad, and like one guy benefits. No, not really. Like that guy is also pulled into the scam, and all of a sudden, if it does get found out, they're like, you proxy hatched against I don't know, some Terran player. It's like, well, that's a kind of a weird strategy. How'd you know, he happened to be going 3 command centers. Well, it sounds like you're both involved in it. It's just bad. But cheating's also really, really bad. Like, if I was some kind of weird judicator of internet crime, I wouldn't be like 10 years to you, and to you, it's much. It's much.
No,
less
no,
than
no. I'm not saying that.
It's just one of those statements where it's like I don't think that it's relevant or even like worth discussing. Right. Like, is cheating worse than like fixing matches? I mean, it probably is, but I mean, like, it would be like if a woman was on trial for like rape and somebody was like, what the Nazis did in Germany was so much worse than this one crime, and it's like, I mean, yeah, but like, okay, it just seems like really not that relevant.
It's a pretty bad example, but I do agree with the sentiment.
Well, I mean, it's just kind of weird, like to bring up something completely unrelated to be like, this is worse than that, and it's like, I mean, sure it is, but
I think cheating, both of it undermines the integrity of the game. People have to wonder, is match fixing going on, is cheating going on? You know, if the game can be, first of all, if the game can be cheated, that's a systemic problem within the game or within how the game is run from a competitive perspective. Match fixing on that end, that's, you know, that's a problem with the players and the teams. You know, do the teams respect the leagues? Do the players respect the leagues? That kind of thing. But
it's just a human thing, man. Like, I don't think there's any competitive game of any kind that's involved money that hasn't had someone rig it. It's about money, and anytime you're introduced to more people, more of that goes on, and it's just a fact of life. So I don't know. There's no way to stop it. It's just when it happens, you come down like a ton of bricks on them, and you call it bad. And hopefully that's enough to deter more people from doing it, as opposed to if we were like, oh, you match fixed? Well, gosh darn it, man. I mean, you're going to have to write an email of an apology to the league, and that's like, other people will be like, oh, shit, well, all right.
Yep.
No, they're getting arrested. Their lives are pretty much ruined. It's really bad, so I think it'll stop people.
Yep. All right, so I guess that's really it about that. You know, it's a bad thing for StarCraft. Actually, Jeff, I'd like you to wrap up the subject. You know, what does this mean for this? Is a big hit. This was back when it happened in Brood War. There are many who say that's what killed a lot of the Brood War scene. I know the game was going until StarCraft 2. I don't know how much of that you agree with. It seems like
I mean, that's hyperbolic.
Okay.
I was there for the Brood War scene. Like it definitely was a dark time, but it's not like anyone was like, well, I'm just not going to watch competitive gaming anymore because I can't trust if any of it's real. It's like, no, that was the outlier. It was really bad.
So it seems like in this case, my perspective, I don't think this is going to be really that damaging. It's upsetting, it's sad, but I don't think this is going to be really damaging in the long term for StarCraft. Do you?
No, like I said, I think this is going to be a topic of discussion for a week or two. It's going to be something that people will look back on. I think Boong Boong and Yoda and Gerard's careers are completely ruined. I think for them, this is going to go on forever, as long as people want to talk about them. But I think the long term implications of StarCraft is that this is just as a reality check. A lot of times we raise our brows when someone calls someone a bad name or any kind of drama we like to talk about on Reddit. But this is real, man. This is fucking, like I said, people getting arrested, people's careers are ruined. People are questioning matches all of a sudden that may or may not have been
Yep.
cheated. So it sucks, and it's a really dark time. But we'll get past it. We're fine, and hopefully less of this happens because now that people are seen as being caught. Because it's also important to note too, as far as match fixing goes, I'm pretty sure this is our only. I mean, there's been like really silly foreigner ones that were
Yeah.
talked about, like WCS qualifier matches.
Not even
Nah,
comparable. I don't know. Not even worth
not even close. So I mean, it's been 5 years plus of this having not occurred on that level. So I think we're in pretty good shape, but it's a reality check. This does happen. And you need to be aware of it.
All right. Well, guys, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will discuss many more things. We'll talk to you soon. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lycan. With me, Destiny and In Control. We just got done talking about the integrity of esports, StarCraft 2, and the match-fixing scandal over in Korea. Also, we did not change the title card. That's all right. Now we're going to real quick touch on Axiom Esports. Axiom closing down. It's not a happy thing to see any team leave StarCraft, but especially a team like Axiom, one of the best run StarCraft 2 teams in the entire, I'd say, one of the best. The organization is, from everything that I understand, it's operated with integrity. It's taking good care of their players. It has produced a lot of good content for the community. I think just the brand Axiom speaks what everyone should want a StarCraft 2 team to be. Jeff, I know you've known John for a long time. You've worked with him as well. You want to just talk about, I guess, what, Axiom is meant to the StarCraft community?
Well, yeah. I mean, first of all, if you haven't, I would just recommend going. I think the website's still open, but they just Total Biscuit talks about the departure of Axiom, and I think no one can describe it better than him. But for those of you that haven't, it started with them hearing that some players basically were having a falling out and needed a home, and they made that home after an MLG where they sponsored Crank, and they became like a family. Like, they didn't have stellar results. They're really proud of their GSTL performance, deservedly so. They sent some players around the world to different tournaments, whereas those opportunities maybe weren't presented to them otherwise. And I remember they did things like they got them all iPads for bonuses for doing really well. They salaried these players in a more healthy fashion than almost any other team. Like, they just did incredible stuff to make these players be able to live out their dream and have an opportunity where they otherwise wouldn't. And I just think that's amazing. And I'm sure Total Biscuit would tell you, like, it costs them money. This is not something that we're, like, thanking them to the heavens, but they made millions off this. They lost money, if you want to call it that.
Up until just last year, yeah.
Well, yeah, they invested in people they believed in, and no one is more passionate than the Bain family about gaming, for God's sakes. As a married couple, they do so much. But, like, they just spent tons and tons of money on these other people, and it didn't really work out as a business, but it was awesome as an experience for StarCraft and everything else. It's just really cool, and everyone should just have a tip of the hat to them. Especially the format too. They did it on hard mode. Like, they had opportunities to sign kind of big name foreigner players and really get attention and stuff like that, but they were just like, no, we're gonna farm up kind of underappreciated Korean talent. That's what we're gonna do. And they had a couple of cool moments there where some players did better than people thought, and he talked about all their accomplishments and their near misses of greatness. But they will be missed. There's a lot of fans on Reddit and across StarCraft in general. And again, it was nice that they did this. It's amazing that they did this. And just today, Total Biscuit announced the ScanDisk Invitational 2, by the way, so he's still doing StarCraft 2 content. And
did he?
Yeah, he's putting on another tournament. It's $20,000. They're talking about running some other stuff. Like, he's got a fucking gigantic heart and love for StarCraft, and Axiom was an expression of that. But there's other ways for him to do it. I think it's really cool.
Yeah. Steven, have you ever had a chance to work with Total Biscuit and Axiom?
With Axiom, no, but yeah, Total Biscuit was one of the casters for my Destiny 1 tournament.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had a bad experience with Total Biscuit ever. Like, he seems to be like an overwhelmingly chill, positive dude, even though it seems kind of strange to think of him as being like a chill dude, given how he kind of has trouble with the internet criticism. But I mean, like, aside from that, like, I had the huge issue going on with my tournament where my internet was shitting out on me. He had no problem hosting on his channel, and he was like super calm and chill about everything. So yeah, I've only ever had good experiences with Total Biscuit, and I think for the most part, I feel like everything he's been involved in with StarCraft, I'm sorry, not for the most part, but I think everything he's been involved with StarCraft has been, like, overwhelmingly positively received. So
yeah, and it's Axiom is big. Axiom's important. They don't have people that are sweeping tournaments every other month or anything like that. But Axiom, just in general, it's, like I said, it's something that every StarCraft team should strive to be like. There are very few that operate the way they do, and it's really unfortunate to have something that solid leaving the community. But they will be missed. And on that, I don't want to go too much into it. I just want to say that, from us here on the late game, and I'm sure the rest of the community, our thoughts and prayers with John, and we know that he's going to he's going to kick some ass. He's going to do well. We are looking forward to many more years of his big, throbbing SC2 supporting cock being around.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, let's go ahead and actually, I wanted to talk about something else. I didn't put this in the subject, so I apologize for dropping this on you guys, but I want to, there's been a few just discussion points, a few questions were
I spent
asked.
so much time preparing for the show, and now you're just gonna fucking throw something completely new into the fucking mix.
All my notes are gone. Why do we even do this?
Oh, I shouldn't put locked because people are going to assume all right, so anyway, we're talking about WCS region lock. I put a lot of thought into our discussion from last week, and I think that I absolutely, I've changed my mind. I'm backpedaling.
Oh, yeah. Again.
Right? I'm backpedaling, and I think that...
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yeah?
I lost my train of thought. I think that WCS should absolutely 100% be region locked.
Did we talk about this last week?
Well, no, hold on.
Are we talking about this every week? Very good.
Let Korea keep, SSL points. Let Korea keep GSL points. Let Koreans go to the tournaments and let them participate the way they have been, but completely region lock WCS. Let the season 1, 2, 3 WCS be all about the foreigners, and then we can let the finals be, and we still have GSL and SSL being a big celebration of Korean StarCraft every season, and then we can have the big events where we see Koreans and foreigners go head to head, and that's the chance where the foreigners can come out and kind of, kick some butt and maybe make it to BlizzCon. But then you can have BlizzCon be the celebration of Koreans, but let WCS finals be about the foreigners. And I think that there shouldn't be an issue with that, but I want to know what you think. I'll start with you, Steven, since I've started with Jeff.
What am I supposed to add? So,
do you think that's like, so we're not talking about taking anything away? Last week, what we talked about, what I brought up was like, well, this is bullshit. They're giving too many points to Koreans. There's so many because they have 2 tournaments. They have the GSL and the SSL. So I'm saying, all right, fine, keep that, but let the seasons be about the foreigners.
So region lock the seasons?
Well, it'd still be region locking. It's region locking WCS.
I mean, sure, I've always been in favor of that.
Jeff?
Wait, what's the new topic? Haven't we talked about this?
Well, we talked about it. Well, last week when we talked about it, it was left off on, I still kind of think that there's a disparity between Koreans and foreigners. And now... All right, never mind. We'll switch topics.
I think that's...
No, I want to hear
that's
Jeff's
charming.
contribution.
No,
I want to hear Jeff's
I
contribution.
really don't have any, Steven. I think that's what's charming about our show. Sometimes we can be like, you know what? We already talked about this a whole bunch. Let's move on. I like that about us.
I like that you say us. That makes me feel tingly.
That's good.
I like making you feel tingly. Just make sure it's not,
Not too
vomit.
Did you notice Reddit is Back to the Future themed today?
Well, yeah, the whole day is, man.
Yeah.
I noticed that. Well, let me go check now. Hold on.
It's October 21st, 2015. Marty. All right. Have we met our cringe quota for today yet?
Our cringe? No, there's definitely time. I mean,
all right.
I think that's what's cool too. Is there's not necessarily a quota. It's just kind of like a new record almost every time.
Yeah, it's like PRs. We set a new personal record every time we.
All right. I'm just I'm bringing up the patch notes on screen. So.
Sure. Do we want to talk? Here's a. Sorry, I couldn't. Do you want to talk about ways that we can StarCraft 2 can save itself? Is that the next topic?
No. Well, StarCraft's gonna be fine.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna cover up my face because it doesn't need to be here right now, and maybe a little bit of Stevens. There we go. All right. So this is the beta update, right? Cyclone. The health is now reduced to 120 from 160. The lock-on now deals 400 damage over 20 seconds against both ground and air. The lock-on upgrade increases the damage against armored units by 400 against both ground and air. So that's what, over 200 damage, or I'm sorry, 800 damage now once the upgrade kicks in, I think. Then Protoss carrier build time now increased 90 to 120. That's really awesome.
Yeah, fuck carriers.
bug fixes, and there's that. So anyway, Jeff, let's talk about the carrier real quick, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty big one. A lot of people have complained, and I mean the fact is that carriers are extremely strong. Yeah, now that you can release your carriers, killing the release your interceptors, killing the carrier, you're still taking damage from this very destructive force. So with that going from 90 to 120, how do you think that's going to impact these current carrier builds in Legacy of the Void?
It's obviously a nigh indestructible, very, very strong unit. So when you slow it down in terms of build order by such a significant margin, it's going to have it's a fairly good nerf, just because the earlier that thing can appear, the more damage it does, because the less prepared your opponent is, in theory. I don't know that it necessarily answers the problem. I think it's more just that if you get a critical mass of, people always talk about carrier mothership, maybe a few Tempest, and then like Templar below that. That seems to be an extremely strong army. I don't know what kills it kind of strong army. This doesn't do anything to that. It makes it more costly to rebuild it, I suppose. And a lot of people are just kind of complaining that right now army compositions are very air dominant. What I find though is that with these kind of things, like I don't know, in my games I'm not finding that to be true. And I'm not saying that it's some weird conspiracy where everyone's lying, and it's also not true that I'm like so bad that I don't see it or so good that I don't see it. Obviously none of that's true. So I really feel like this is one of those things where maybe the carrier is a little bit too strong, but I also feel like right now in StarCraft 2, like things are going to be a little bit out of whack and more powerful than others. Like Liberators are really, really fucking strong. But do they need to be nerfed?
Yes.
I don't necessarily... Well,
oh, sorry.
No. I mean, you might have that opinion. That could be absolutely valid. I guess my point is, it's almost too bad, but it's like November 9th is coming right up, and this game's getting launched. So I guess the time to wait and see is kind of gone. So yeah, let's try these nerfs. I would like it, though, if, to be honest, and it's kind of weird to say this because they're actually qualifying for the DreamHack tournament right now, but I'd like patches every week, twice a week or something. Like, if we have issues, if we're going to try shit out, let's do it now. And the player base of Legacy of the Void has to be only increasing at this point in time, I have to imagine. But when we launch, we need all these things figured out one way or the other. If it's just Reddit that's complaining about carriers, I don't know. If it's actually a StarCraft problem, they have the numbers. They got to figure that out right now.
I like that idea, the patching, with that really frequent, like once a week, twice a week kind of patching, right? When you are on a rifle range and you're doing a known distance course of fire, right, you adjust your rifle sight every time you take a shot. And the reason you do that is because you only have so many shots at each target before you have to move on. So you want to continually adjust to make sure that if you were off the mark, that you're at least getting closer each time you do it, right? You don't just do 5 shots and then, oh, well, okay, I have 5 more. Now I'll make an adjustment, right? And I think they should do kind of the same thing with StarCraft 2. You assume that at the highest level of plays, and you have to do due diligence and keep on top of it, but you assume that you're watching people play the game the way it needs to be played, the way these units are played, and you make small adjustments instead of huge adjustments, right? You're not going to go up 3 notches and say, okay, let's increase the cyclone damage, by 400 just like that, right? It should be incremental.
Yeah, but you got to be careful. What if the guy with the rifle is holding his rifle incorrectly, and then he fires one shot, and then he instantly adjusts the sight?
That's why you do small increments.
Well, yeah, but what if the player base gets to such a point that they don't want to make any changes into their behavior, and because they just assume that changes are going to be made over and over again? The problem with overpatching is you get into. I'll always use an example. League of Legends is the worst fucking game when it comes to overpatching. If you've never played, you don't understand how absolutely mentally retarded a player base will become if you allow them to become that way. Literally day 0. On like a League of Legends patch, the second it comes out, if something is too strong, insta-ban it permanently. Riot will change it, instantly. Nobody in that game will try to, as soon as a champion. It happened with I'm speaking I guess from season 3 or 2. It happened with Black Cleavers. It happened with tons of different champions. It happened with Warmogs. As soon as something happens with Blade of the Ruin King. As soon as something gets released, literally on the first day of the patch, people are like, that shit's way too strong. Riot's gonna patch it. I'm not even gonna try to think of a way to deal with it. Every time I die to it, I'm just gonna go, LOL, so broken. Can't wait for Riot to patch it. And that's the kind of mentality that
But didn't they? That happens every time they release a new champion, right? They
every new champion, but that's because League makes game-changing patches monthly. Like,
Right.
it's huge and it's catastrophic to the mentality of the player base because nobody is ever going to try to figure out how to do anything because they know that if something is even like a tad too strong, like holy shit, like that support champ works in mid lane, nerf, nerf, nerf. Like that champ can be played as an AP, nerf, nerf, nerf. Like that champ can be played in top and bottom, nerf, nerf, nerf. Like, but like the player base will never like. There might be answers to some of the problem champions or some of the problem builds that pop up, but even if there were, the player base will never, ever, ever figure it out because they're insanely entitled. As soon as something seems too strong, it'll be nerfed instantly because the player base has been fostered to have such a mentality that if anything seems too strong, Riot's going to fix it for them, and they don't have to think of any ways to combat it themselves. As long as it doesn't, as long as they don't. Well, yeah, somebody said maybe even like bi-monthly. Wait, does that mean twice a month or every 2 months?
So I guess
sorry, but
bi-monthly.
I think it can mean either.
Twice,
but
right?
I think it can mean either. But regardless, like you have to be so careful when you patch games. Like you can't overpatch.
Completely agree. I completely agree. I just one thing though is I agree you can't overpatch, but that's why I think that it needs to be moderate increments, right? You don't just come in, you don't wipe out. Like let's look at the Ghost nerf. I believe, and I wasn't around at the time when the Ghost was nerfed and when the Ghost was felt to be a problem, but it seems that one of the issues could have been, a lot of people seem to echo, is that the Ghost could have been nerfed slowly instead of just completely making Snipe stupid weak. They could have taken it down maybe a couple notches each time until they found like a good balance where the
sure.
So
yeah,
that kind
that
of
might have
patching,
lost.
like if you're doing patching like Jeff said, you know, once a week or every other or twice a week, like you could be doing those small increments just to say that okay, the past couple days we've watched the Team Liquid forums, we've watched Reddit, we've seen a couple videos from these guys, and okay, we think that we're heading in the right direction. Let's go. Like with the Adept, right? With the people playing around with that, if they would have spent a month every twice a week patching the Adept with like focusing on one aspect of it that they believe to be the issue, and instead of doing a huge change and redesign or just chopping off 50% of the health or something like that, they could have just gone little by little until they find this beautiful little thing, and then you know you can just from there once you kind of get the right range. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's probably true. Blizzard has the Hearthstone community, funny enough, complains about this too for a valid reason. That Blizzard, when they nerf, they have it's like 100% kill rate. Like if Blizzard targets something with a nerf, like it's going to be unfucking usable. In StarCraft 2, they pretty much did it to the Infestor, where it's like the Infestor's kind of strong. Well, no, the Infestor's really strong. So let's nerf Infestor Terrans and Fungal Growth and Neuroparasite. It's like, oh, okay. And then in Hearthstone, there was a deck that was really strong that they just recently nerfed a card out of, but they didn't like tweak that card. They like nerfed it out of existence. Like it's worse than like I think like a fucking is Raid Leader a neutral card or a warrior card? Like it's a really fucking bad card now, and like the whole deck is like completely fucked now because of it. Blizzard might have a tendency to go a little bit overboard.
Didn't they just fuck Grim Patron?
Yeah, that was the deck, sure.
Yeah. So
but the card that they nerfed was called Warsong Commander. Basically, the card let it so that anytime you played... Basically, the card made it so that anytime you played a minion under a certain amount of attack power, it could attack immediately instead of having that one-turn cooldown. And this synergized really well with another card that the warrior had, and let them do a huge, like, it's called a one-turn kill, right? Where they can do huge damage, and the deck kind of revolved around that. Well, they took that card, and instead of making it so that any minion could attack immediately, it just gave like certain minions like a +1 attack, I think. Like it was like a worthless fucking... It's a worthless card now. Like it'll never be in any deck ever, except for like meme decks or something. Like
meme deck, fuck. All right, Jeff. What do you think about? I guess that that sort of approach to it. You were talking about patching on a regular basis, so I guess you obviously agree then that that'd be especially with this being this close. We're less than a month away. Do you think they should possibly consider doing that now?
I don't know. To be honest, I think it's... I think we definitely have our opinions, but as far as, like, Jeff, what do you think the absolute answer for policy is? I don't really know. I trust Blizzard. I think they have more access to the numbers than any of us possibly could, and in my experience, I really enjoy Legacy of the Void right now. Like, if it were to launch right now, I don't think it would be... I think no one would ever say perfect, but I think it's in a good spot. It'd be okay. It'd be competitive. It'd be fun. Better than HOTS, which I think is an incredible thing to say. And I really enjoyed HOTS. I'm not even hating on HOTS. I just think Legacy of Void's a step up. So, all I'm saying is I'm like I'm stating the obvious, I guess. I'm kind of worthless on this, but I'm just like, yeah, a couple more weeks. So if we're going to do drastic changes, do it now. and don't let it sit for 2 weeks, because then that's also time wasted. Like
Right.
do a patch and then be like, you know what? Actually, 3 days later, meh, no. And there's gonna be people that are like, come on, like how am I supposed to qualify for DreamHack? But like, that's part of the playing in a beta experience. The bigger and scarier picture is we don't use this time. The game launches, and then they sure as fuck aren't going to patch things unless it's really bad in that first month, and you're stuck with a game that isn't as good as it could have been. So this is the time to do it, and I hope they're using it wisely.
All right. So overall, give your final thought on just the patching they have been doing. Do you think they've been doing a good job taking into consideration the community's thoughts? And
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I love that David Kim has been so responsive, talking to people about their thought process. That's really, really cool. And the patches have been fairly frequent, and it's been good. It's been getting better. You know, a lot of people are disappointed and upset and whatnot, but again, I think we can all agree to a certain level. You're never going to make everyone happy with StarCraft. Like, it's just way too many factors, way too different of a game. So as long as most people can be happy and it's really fun, and I think most importantly, it's generally agreed that it's a step up from HOTS. Like, as long as it's getting better with each game iteration, then I think we can be happy, and I'm excited.
yeah, so we are gonna have. I haven't decided if we're gonna have an episode the week of BlizzCon, but we only have a few more episodes before we get to BlizzCon, and then after that, Legacy of the Void is here. We'll be in Legacy of the Void time before that, though. I don't think there's gonna be after DreamHack. There won't be another. Well, no, we're done with HOTS tournaments, aren't we?
Oh,
Other than
almost for sure.
Other than BlizzCon,
Yes.
yeah. So
And you will shit your pants on November 9th, by the way, everyone. Like,
When what?
I mean, that's just what Lycan said, but I trust him. I believe it. November 9th.
what? You trust me?
Yeah.
Holy shit!
I'm more joking, but I think the game's going to be great. I think that I played through all the single players. The stories are terrible, but the gameplay is really fun. I think Legacy of the Void's going to be the
You've
best
played through
of
all
that.
the Legacy of the Void single player?
No, not Legacy of the Void.
He just means StarCraft in general.
Oh,
Wings,
okay,
Wings
okay,
of Liberty and HOTS.
Gotcha.
And for those of you that are holding back, or perhaps you're not as much into StarCraft in terms of playing or watching, I think you're in for a treat. I think tournaments are about... I really think Legacy of the Void tournaments are going to be super exciting. There's a lot of big fucking... I mean, it's like... It's a little bit more like Brood War in the sense that there's just so much kind of overpowered shit, like just radical swings. And in the beta in particular, it seems really bad because everyone's just kind of getting used to compositions and the different mindset entirely for some races, like Protoss in particular. Pylons and shit is just so different from what it used to be. But once we kind of get into the swing of things, I am super excited for a lot of the action we're going to have.
Yeah.
People aren't even using hold position lurkers yet. Like, that's still not something that people are doing yet. Terrans will learn to fear hold position lurkers.
Yeah, I'm still not a huge fan of going against lurkers, but there was one thing I wanted to... I'm trying to shut my phone off because someone just signed
You
on.
are so popular.
That's professionalism, Jesus.
Someone went live on Twitch, so I have... never mind. The point is that...
Yeah.
God damn. Train of thought left the station. So those are the beta updates. Damn it.
Are you okay?
No.
Are you pulling a Bernie? You having a stroke, buddy?
No.
Okay.
Bernie.
Yeah, during the debates, he had a sweat stitty moment where it sounded like he was about to have a stroke.
No, I didn't. Dude, I couldn't watch the debate, man. Like, I watched. They were having some discussion, and then I know it's politics, man. I understand that this is how it works, but Hillary just started off with like, first of all, I just wanted to say that as an American, and I wanted to fucking throw up. Like,
Why,
I
she's
get
an
Or
American?
shit. You don't know, bit of a mixed bag there with you.
it was kind of the bullshit. I can't stand politics. That's why I stopped using Facebook, is because I can't.
Oh, you should friend my mom on Facebook. Oh shit, dude. You have no idea. You have no idea.
I just blocked my mom on Facebook. Your mom and my mom would get along. So, all right, let's talk about the reality and future of organized esports. Where I'm coming with this. Football. First game of football was played between Princeton and Rutgers in 1869, and then the National Football League came around in 1920. So that's a long, long time. That's about 50 years of time from the sport just coming around and people playing it in somewhat organized manner to the National Football League that we now know today, right? Now, granted, that was a long time ago. Things move a lot slower, but here we are in esports. We're going to take a look at Counter-Strike as an example. Counter-Strike has been around for a long time. I don't know when Counter-Strike was first created as a mod, but I remember playing Counter-Strike back in 2000. So I know that it's we are 15 years into this game and going strong. And there is discussion. An article was released today by Richard Lewis discussing organizations trying to get together, potentially buying teams, and then creating a franchise. And what I want to know from the panel is whether or not this is something that we should just expect to happen with esports. Is this the direction we're going to go? Are we going to maintain this free-floating teams going to this league and that league and that league? Or is the future of esports one big conglomerate per game, the way the NFL, NBA, MLB, FIFA, and all that?
No, they won't be unified. I think it'll be quite different. Or it'll be league-based, and then the leagues... I mean, that's kind of fun about this. It's impossible to predict for the most part. Like, you can look back on history, and certainly there's indicators, and it'll help you hedge your bets in terms of which direction it's going to go. But this is a formative period of time where everyone talks about like bubble or like what if it collapses, because it has in the past. Gaming has had huge growth spurts followed by giant recessions, and from what I can tell as a person that's lived through most of those, it feels like it's definitely in a very sustainable period and place of time. So just from what I can tell, though, these games seem so independent. Like, a lot of fans cross over and watch multiple games. But, like Riot and LoL is fiercely independent of everything else. There's no back and forth there. Dota is very independent. And actually, like, even...
Wait, let me clarify. What I'm saying is, like, that's how I'm saying it. I think it would be. Is Riot would be like the NFL for League of Legends. Like, Riot runs League of Legends. So let's say that Richard Lewis's article is true and that ESL bands with some other organization and grabs 10 of the biggest CSGO teams and creates that version of the NFL where they don't play in any league. It's just this franchise league.
Oh, so you're asking specifically in that scenario, I guess.
Yeah, they stay within the game. So it would be like the NFL is football, NBA is basketball. Yeah.
I guess. I mean, we have that, like you said, in LoL. Like, those teams make very, very rare, if any, appearances lately outside of the LCS, and that's because they're salaried and also because their scene's completely controlled. So yeah, I mean, if a big entity wants to grab the top 10, 12 CSGO teams and be like, you are not going to play in other tournaments, well, then that tournament's got to be worth... I mean, because nobody had... Like, Valve is not the front runner like Riot is. Like, they're like, yeah, like, you guys run as many tournaments as you want. It's free advertising for us. So if someone wants to put together enough money to salary these CSGO teams where it literally buys them out of the incentive to play in other leagues, sure. But they do not have the power and control that Riot does to just enforce it while also paying them, sure, but also they don't have a choice, right? Like, that salary's nice, but that's not why they do it. It's because they can't. There are no other leagues.
Right.
Riot won't allow it. And that's not been put in place for StarCraft, CSGO, Dota, or any other game. So if that were to happen, literally some guy from fucking China or the Middle East would have to come forward and be like, let's host Al Bajira's $5 billion league. And if you play in any other, you're out. And everybody will be like, $5 billion, did you say? They'll be like, okay, we will not play in another league this year. But short of that, no, it's not going to happen.
All right, Steven, let's look at the current climate. Let's look at the current organizations we have. We have DreamHack, ESL, Gfinity, and a whole bunch of other companies. And at this moment, there are some of those organizations that want this conglomerate. They want that one NFL version for Counter-Strike. They want that. I'm killing off that because that's the most recent story. Do you think that as a player or as the team should be a little more wary about allowing that to happen right now? Or do you think that for the sake of ensuring that it's the right organization that's going to be starting it, right? Or do you think they should kind of say, hey, yeah, let's do that. Let's move that towards legitimacy. That's what we need. That's what we need for the sport to grow. That's what we need to become, legitimate.
Okay, so first of all, legitimacy is something that will happen as a side effect of businesses acting in such a way that ensures that they make profits while people kind of sort of keep everything in check. I don't think in my entire life, I guess Jeff can correct me if I'm wrong, I seriously doubt there's ever been a discussion that's ever taken place in a team where they're trying to make like a financial decision, whether it's through sponsorships or what tournament to attend, where the team is thinking, what can we do that would best help legitimize esports? Like, I don't think that conversation has ever taken place in a serious team. So in terms of like what makes things legitimate, I don't think teams are ever considering that. It'll just be wherever the money is. I mean, I think it's a pretty simple, like you said, Al Jazeera's $1 billion tournament, like if they decided to put that on, then they'd be like, oh yeah, fuck it, yeah, we'll do that shit. Especially if the team takes like a percentage of profits from player winnings, and then of course they would go there. But yeah, it'll just be a factor of money. How much money are the tournaments offering to buy them out for their exclusive shit?
Okay. So all right. So take the legitimacy comment out. That kind of tainted what I was getting at.
Yeah.
For the sake of, should they be more aware of saying, we don't know if any of you are ready to run an organization and not destroy the game by creating this conglomerate and creating this franchise?
Teams are for short-term profit. If they can make a quick buck on it, they'll be. If the tournament fucks up and fails, the team will still be there at the end of the day. I think they would jump on, even if it looked kind of shady, as long as they were guaranteed the money or they didn't know that it was going to fuck up. Like, yeah, the team will take that. Yeah, we'll take the money. And if the people fuck up and fail, then whatever. The team's still there. They can do other things.
Okay. Yeah.
I think. Or Jeff said he wanted to say something.
No, I was just about to shoot this question down. To be honest with you, I think we're doing a hypothetical,
on a hypothetical,
and that second hypothetical is even less likely to even be worth discussing because the first one seems so out of touch.
Okay, so I guess, but my concern is that we have people wanting to do this to create these leagues, and
yeah, but there's a lot of people that want to do anything. Is anybody with actual money stepping up to start to do this kind of stuff? Because if not,
yes, yeah,
ESL and DreamHack are kind of at war for CS:GO in particular. And they're going to try to run leagues, and if they ever want to make them exclusive where they look a team in the eye and say you cannot join any other league, the subject's kind of already been answered. Well, that has to be so worthwhile for that team that it makes doing it's almost like a 1-to-1. Like Destiny said, teams are just about making money. Like that's all they care about.
Okay, then maybe it's from our perspective. Then maybe us, the community members, are kind of like, you're not at all concerned that if they move forward with it now, it's like this is too soon, or that's not the right organization. They're gonna fuck it up, and then the game will
No. All the major esport games right now are in such a sturdy place that no one ESL, DreamHack, or anybody
is going to destroy an entire.
The only ones that could is Riot, and they would. Yeah. The only game they could ruin is their own. So
and even that's arguable because we don't. Maybe an independent league scene could exist. Right. Even Riot, who is in the best position to destroy a scene, might not even be able to do it. So think that all of a sudden CS:GO is going to not be a thing anymore because one tournament tries some exclusivity thing that if it were to start to fail and public opinion were to turn, teams would be able to fuck out of those contracts or something. It's not like a huge fucking penalty attached. And even if there was public opinion would shift things in such a way that no single tournament organization is about to destroy Hearthstone or Dota or CS:GO. It's just not.
Okay.
CS:GO in particular too, by the way, is in a interesting spot where esports is a nice add-on to it, but it's
that game is solid as fuck even without.
Yeah, everyone's playing it despite esports is what I would say, and it's largely in part because of the skins, which is a whole other subject that we can talk about another time, I think.
Okay. Yeah. That's pretty much the end of that thought, I guess. Let's see what else we have for today. Really, that's it. If you guys don't have any more thoughts on that, we'll move to the final part, do a few questions, and then we'll.
Final countdown.
All right. The first question is looking forward to hearing Lycan. It's not even a question. It's looking forward to hear from Lycan on the juicy insider info about hacking by pros. Excuse me. So
we talked about it, Bray.
We did. If you have any questions about it, you can go to the CS:GO Reddit, search my name. There will be 2 threads. If you search by new, the first one is the thread where I was destroyed. The second was the thread where I explained myself. And that should answer any questions. All right. I don't Jeff, you're really the only one that's played at a pro level. Has anyone ever approached you about throwing a game?
No.
Do you know if any of your, you don't have to say anyone, but do you know of any like EG players that were at some point?
Nope. I think that's the kind of thing where if anyone was approached, and I have nothing to hide, honestly, guys. All those losses, 100% on me. No, if someone was approached, unless they were turning them in, they wouldn't even talk about it.
Okay.
It's just it's too Pete Rose-ish, man. If you're into baseball, like it's just, it's you don't want to be anywhere near that subject.
Yeah.
You'll get thrown off your team. You'll never most pro gamers start off because they love the fucking game. Like, they love it. They would do this for free, but if they can get paid, all the better. To be thrown away from that, laughed out, yelled at, and just, like, disregarded from that which you love, I can't imagine. It would be insane. Like, I don't play this game professionally anymore, but I could not imagine a world where if I was like, hey, I want to do a show, and Lycan's like, get the fuck off my show and control, you cheating bastard. I'm like, oh, no. And then I go to Destro, and I'm like, hey, Destro, I'm going to stream with you. And he's like, get the fuck off, you fucking, and he does his French thing, and he's like...
His Austrian,
yeah,
Arnold Schwarzenegger
French.
accent.
Yeah, all of it, and he's yelling at me, and I just couldn't touch the game on a social level. It would be devastating. So it's just horrific. You do not go anywhere near it.
What is the, what's chat talking about?
You fucking shit on me, dog. You said that I didn't play as a professional. I went to MLBs.
You know what? That was before my time. I'm sorry.
It's just like that time when Rifkin referred to you as a non-professional streamer, man. I feel these dank, deep cut memes. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
First from Lycan, now from Rifkin too.
Oh my god. All right, Jeff. If you were to just give a guess from deep within inside your gut of guts, do you think that WCS will be region locked next year?
Did
we manage to revisit the same?
Well, no. Hold on.
Real quickly.
When I brought it up, it was, I think this is what it should be. But we never actually asked, do you think
I
it
answered,
will be?
It's fine. Yes,
okay.
I think it will be. But let's just move on about it.
Right.
So wait, hold on, because I'm curious. I'm curious for Jeff. Do you think that region locking, like altogether, would be a good thing or a bad thing for the future of StarCraft 2?
It's really hard to say. It's retroactive because in other games they are hard region lock, right? And it's worked out for them mostly, I would say.
Wait, are you being meta right now? I was fucking with you when I asked that.
Oh,
are you reverse fucking? I don't even know what's going on.
I'm a straight face on the show, bro. I try to take each question as they come at me really seriously. Yeah, let's move on. Next one.
All right, this will be the last one. Destiny. We'll start with you. You ready for this?
Am I? What kind of question is it going to be?
So,
what does that mean?
the automated tournaments they've added into Legacy of the Void. They're not finished. We know this. It's just the beta. They're probably just testing the system to make sure it works. And then all the fancy flair and all that's going to come back. But if there was something that you would want to see to make you come back to the tournament, what would it be? To make you want to play in those?
To play in the automated tournaments? I mean... Do we want to talk about all the things that StarCraft needs to get like for me personally to come back and play? Like, I mean, I don't know. I would probably play in the automated tournaments for fun, but it's not like there's nothing that StarCraft can really offer you. So I don't understand the question.
Okay.
Like, what could possibly be offered?
No.
Like, it's not. There aren't any skins or anything or any like new units or. Are you saying like
answer the question with the question?
Money? How about money? If they paid out money for the automated tournaments, would be a.
Hey, that could be like the.
Will the Destiny Tournament 2 be on the auto tournaments system? There you go.
Is that a question?
Yeah.
Can you actually run your own tournaments off of?
No, not yet. Anyway.
Can you?
Not that I know.
Well,
I don't know.
We'll find out. November 9th, man. Be there or be square.
All right, the last question. November 9th. Oh, I thought it was the 10th. It's the 10th. Yeah.
Game comes out on... Oops. My thing's not... November... 9th is a Monday. I guess the midnight launch is Monday.
Okay, yeah.
This is what we would say. That's what the kids do. They stay up late and they get the game early.
I used to do that. We talked about this a little bit. I did that for World of Warcraft, but the servers always suck when the game comes out because everyone's logging in. All right, This last question is just for me. Is why aren't you getting guests on the show? Honestly, because I haven't. I've asked a few. Like I've asked Wax to come on last week when I can't remember what the topic was, but it's something that he's
shit.
knowledgeable about. It's just haven't really felt like getting a guest. I like this thing we've been doing, the short shows, an hour long, and yeah. Oh,